They laughed. They smiled. They took pictures around the dinner table. And me? I only found out from a Facebook post. I zoomed in on the photo and saw something that made my heart stop. There was my favorite chair, the one at the end of the table. Empty. Just sitting there. Like a quiet ghost. Like me. My name is Clara. I'm 29 years old. And this is the story of how I went from being the daughter they forgot to the daughter they'll never forget. 5 years ago, my dad passed away. He was the only one who really saw me, the only one who truly listened. When he died, everything changed. The house he worked so hard for, the beautiful white one with blue windows and a big oak tree in front, was passed down to me. Legally. He left it to me in his will. But I didn't kick my family out. I let Mom stay. I let my brother, Jason, live there too. They didn't pay rent. They didn't pay taxes. They didn't fix the roof when it leaked. I did. Every month, I paid the taxes. Every year, I hired people to fix the broken plumbing and trim the wild bushes in the yard. And what did I get in return? A cold hello, a tired sigh, a family that looked at me like I was just in the way. I don't live in that house. I moved out after college because I got a job in another city. It was a good job, long hours, but I liked it. I called, I texted, I visited when I could. But every time I showed up, it felt like I had crashed someone else's life. One time I visited on Sunday. The door barely opened. "Clara, you should call before coming," Mom said, brushing past me. Another time my brother asked, "How long are you staying this time?" I laughed nervously. "Just the weekend." He just nodded, like I was a guest. A stranger in my own house. Last month, I told my boss I needed Easter weekend off. I wanted to finally spend some real time with my family. I even bought small gifts for everyone. Flowers for Mom, a new wallet for Jason. I wrapped them myself and put little notes on each one. I was excited, nervous, hopeful. I drove 3 hours to get there. But when I got to the gate, it was locked. Strange. So I rang the bell. No answer. I peered through the iron bars, and what I saw made my stomach twist into knots. The house was glowing with lights. The front yard was full of cars. People were laughing inside. I could hear music. I could smell turkey. I saw my aunt's old red scarf through the window, my cousin's giant afro, even Uncle Jimmy's loud laugh. They were all there, everyone, but not me. Nobody told me, not even a simple text. I stood there for a full minute, just watching. My gift bags were still in my hands. The flowers started to shake because my hands were shaking. I slowly turned around and walked back to my car. My feet felt heavy. My face felt hot. I didn't cry. Not yet. I just drove home in silence. The wind outside was loud, but inside my car, it was quiet. So quiet it hurt. That night, while lying on my bed, I opened Facebook. I wasn't even thinking, just scrolling without really seeing. Until I saw it. A picture. A big one. It was my family, all sitting around the dining table, the table Dad bought, the table we used to eat dinner on as a family. The caption said, "Happy Easter, so grateful for family." They all looked so happy, so warm. Mom was smiling. Jason had his arm around her. Everyone had a plate. Everyone had a seat, except me. And there it was, my old spot at the end of the table, empty. I zoomed in. My heart was pounding. I looked again.
It was definitely my chair, still in the same place, still waiting. But no one had waited for me. That was when something inside me broke. Or maybe it didn't break. Maybe it just woke up. I looked at that photo for a long time. Then I closed the app, put down my phone, and smiled. A small smile. Not the kind that shows teeth, not the happy kind. The kind of smile that says, "Okay, you forgot me. Now I remember who I am." Because in that moment, I remembered something very, very important, something they forgot. The house was mine. The deed was in my name. My dad gave it to me because he trusted me to take care of it. And I did. I gave and gave and gave, and all they did was take. So maybe it was time to take it back.
I didn't cry that night. I didn't call my mom. I didn't send a message to my brother. I just lay there, still and quiet, like a glass of water that's been sitting too long. But inside me, a storm was moving, a very calm storm, because now I wasn't sad anymore. I wasn't confused. I was clear. They forgot me. So I would remind them who they were living with. Correction, who they were living under. Me. The next morning, I woke up early. The sun was soft through my window, but I felt sharp inside. I took a shower, got dressed, and made tea. Then I opened my dad's file box. I hadn't touched it in years. It still smelt like him. Old paper and peppermint. I pulled out the deed to the house. There it was. My name in big black letters. Clara May Thompson. Owner. I smiled again, the kind of smile that says, "This is going to sting, but I'm not sorry." By 10:30 a.m., I was calling a real estate agent. "Hi, this is Clara Thompson. I have a house I'd like to sell quickly. No open houses. I just want a cash buyer." The man on the phone sounded surprised. "Of course, Miss Thompson. Can you tell me about the property?" I told him everything. The 5-bedroom house, the big tree in the front yard, the freshly fixed plumbing. "Oh, and it already has people living in it, but they're not on the deed." He paused. "So, you'll be asking them to leave?" I took a sip of tea and answered softly, "Yes." It all moved fast after that, faster than I expected. Within 2 days, we had a buyer, a quiet man with glasses and a warm smile. He said he liked old houses with stories. He didn't ask too many questions. He had the money. I had the keys. We signed the papers in a little office downtown. The room smelled like ink and air conditioning. He handed me the check. The amount? $2.1 million. I held the paper in my hands and felt nothing. Not happiness, not guilt, just stillness, like something had been waiting inside me to settle, and now it had. I didn't call my family after the sale. I didn't warn them. I didn't say, "Pack your things." I let the new owner handle that. He said he'd stop by next week with his lawyer. I said, "That's fine." Then I went home, took a nap, and watched cartoons. That night, I slept better than I had in years. A week later, the phone rang. It was a Saturday. I was painting my nails when I saw Mom's name pop up. I let it ring once, twice, 3 times. Then I answered. My voice was calm, like I was answering a call from the bank. "Hello?"
Her voice exploded through the phone. Clara! Clara, what is going on? There's a strange man at the door. He says he owns the house. He has papers. He has a lawyer with him. What is this? I waited for her to finish. She sounded scared, but she didn't sound sorry. So I took a slow breath, and then I said it, soft, like a whisper. Pack your bags, Mom. She went silent, dead silent. So I added, I hope the reunion was worth it. She started yelling again, said I was crazy, said I was being dramatic, that I was overreacting. That wasn't even a real reunion, she shouted. It was just a small gathering. Your family. You should have told us you were coming. I held the phone to my ear, but didn't say anything. Because if I opened my mouth, I knew I would scream. And I didn't want to scream. Not anymore. So I let her talk. Then I hung up. 5 minutes later, my brother called, Jason. I stared at the phone. Then I picked it up. His voice was sharp, angry. What did you do? Are you out of your mind? You sold the house? Our house? I paused before answering. Not our house. My house. That was Dad's house. And Dad gave it to me. You betrayed us. No, I said, quiet but firm. You betrayed me. Every time you left me out, every time you made me feel like I didn't belong. I was never family to you, just a bank card. He said a bad word and hung up. I sat there for a long time, looking at my phone. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel alone. I felt awake. Later that night, I walked around my tiny apartment and looked at the boxes I never unpacked, the ones full of my paintings, my books, my memories. I realized something strange. I had been waiting for their love, waiting to be invited, waiting to feel like I mattered. But now, I was done waiting, because now I had something better than their attention. I had my power back, and I knew exactly what to do next. The next day, I turned off my phone. I didn't want to hear their shouting. I didn't want to read their texts. I just wanted to breathe. So I took a walk. The air felt light, like the world was no longer sitting on my shoulders. I stopped by a small park and sat on a bench under a tree. Children were running around. A dog barked happily in the distance. A mom laughed while pushing her baby in a swing. And I thought to myself, this is what peace feels like. Later that evening, I turned my phone back on. 32 missed calls, 24 text messages. I didn't open any of them. But one voicemail popped up. It was Mom's voice, slow, sad. Clara, I don't understand. We were just trying to have a nice day with family. We didn't mean to hurt you. This was too much. You've gone too far. Too far. She erased me from her table, and now I was the one who had gone too far? Jason sent a message too. It said, "You're not even human. Dad would be ashamed of you." That one stung. For a second, it made my heart twist. Then I remembered something Dad once told me. I was 12, and Jason had blamed me for breaking a window. Mom had believed him. I cried on Dad's lap, and he said, "Sometimes people will lie about you to hide their own guilt, but the truth always finds its way to the light." I held on to those words now. They were my anchor. They were why I was about to do what I did next.
I went online and looked up something called the Thompson Foundation. It was a small charity my dad had always loved. They helped kids with no parents, gave them homes, gave them books, gave them a chance. I remembered how my dad used to say, every child deserves to feel like they belong. So I picked up the phone and called the foundation. Hi, I said. My name is Clara Mae Thompson. I'd like to make a donation in my father's name. The lady on the phone sounded confused at first. Then I told her the number. Her voice cracked. Did you say $2 million? Yes, I said. 2 million. There was silence on the other end. Then she whispered, Your father must have been a great man. I smiled. He was. 2 days later, I signed the final transfer papers. $2 million gone from my account, now helping children across the state. The last $100,000, I used it to buy a small home by the lake. It wasn't fancy. It didn't have marble floors or chandeliers, but it had a porch swing and a garden and silence. The kind of silence that doesn't hurt, the kind that heals. The first night in my new home, I didn't even unpack. I just sat on the porch and watched the stars. I thought about all the birthdays I spent alone, all the holidays where no one called, all the times I showed up and no one looked happy to see me. And I thought about the chair, my chair, empty, not because I didn't want to be there, but because no one made space for me. Now, I had made space for myself, a whole house of it. 3 days later, a letter came in the mail. It was from Mom. I didn't want to open it at first, but something told me I should. So I sat down, made tea, and opened the envelope. The letter said, Clara, I hope you're happy now. You've turned your back on us. You've thrown away your family. I don't know who you are anymore. I don't know how we got here. But if you think a house makes you strong, then maybe you never were. Mom. I read it twice. Then I folded it and tucked it into my journal. Not because it hurt me, but because it reminded me of one important thing. I didn't throw them away. They threw me away a long time ago. I just finally stopped begging to be kept. A few cousins tried to reach out later. Some said I overreacted. Others said they didn't know I wasn't invited. But none of them ever said they were sorry. So I let them go too. Sometimes when you clean your life, you have to dust off the people who only show up when it benefits them. And that's okay. I started drawing again, something I hadn't done since college. I painted the chair from the family table, empty, but this time I filled it with color. Bright blue, golden sunlight, a garden behind it, a smile waiting in the shadows. It didn't feel lonely anymore. It felt free. That's when I realized something. I wasn't just healing, I was becoming someone who didn't need permission to matter, becoming someone who didn't need a seat at someone else's table. I had my own table now, and at that table, no one would be forgotten, not even me.
It's funny how people only notice you when you stop giving. When I gave them a free house, I was invisible. When I gave them time, money, gifts, and love, still invisible. But the moment I took back my power, suddenly I was the villain. Days passed, then weeks. The messages slowed down. First, the angry ones, then the sad ones, then silence. I didn't chase it. For once in my life, I didn't run after people who let me feel like nothing. I stayed still. And in that stillness, something new grew. Me. I started doing small things that made me smile. I learned to bake banana bread. I planted sunflowers. I joined a book club at the library. Every morning I woke up and looked out at the calm lake behind my new home. No screaming, no cold stares, no locked gates. Just me. and peace. One morning, I got a message from Aunt Deborah, the same aunt who was smiling in the Facebook photo that shattered me. She said, "Clara, we didn't mean to hurt you. You've always been quiet, but we love you. Your mom is heartbroken. Come home." Come home? What home? The one they forgot to invite me to? The one they used without paying? The one they never even said thank you for? No, that home was gone because I was finally home. Later that week, Jason emailed me. I almost deleted it, but something told me to read it. "Clara, I was angry, but now I understand. You were always there, and we never saw you. I'm sorry. Mom cries every day. She misses you. I miss you. But I guess it's too late." From Jason. I stared at the screen for a long time. I didn't cry, but my heart felt soft, like it had been hard for so long, and now it was learning how to feel again. I didn't write back, not because I hated them, but because healing doesn't always need a reunion. Sometimes it just needs distance. I took one last trip to the town where I grew up. I walked by the old house. It looked the same, but not really. There was a new family living there now. I saw a little boy riding a bike in the driveway. He was laughing, pure, full-hearted laughter, and I smiled. That house had stories, some painful, some sweet. But I was no longer part of that story. I had finished my chapter and turned the page. I drove back to my new home. The sky was pink and orange, the kind of sky you want to paint and hang on your wall. I sat on my porch swing, held a cup of tea, and watched the sun go down. Then I walked inside and looked around. No big crowd, no party, no flashing cameras, just my chair, my walls, my air, mine. I wrote in my journal that night. They said I was cruel, but I was just finally loving myself. They forgot me. I remembered me. That night, I dreamed of my dad. He was sitting by the lake, wearing his favorite flannel shirt. He looked at me and smiled. "Good job, baby girl," he said. I woke up smiling because I knew he would have been proud. Not because I sold the house, but because I stopped begging to belong and started building a life of my own. You can forgive people and still walk away. You can love people and still choose peace. And sometimes the best way to be heard is to stop talking and just act. So if you're reading this and you feel forgotten, like the chair at the table always left empty, please hear me. You are not invisible. You are not a burden. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone. And you never ever need to stay where you are not wanted. Because I did everything right, and they still erased me. So I did the only thing I had left to do. I erased their address.